What's going on, A to Z Sports? It's your Titan Game Day Live. Sam Phelan here with Easton Freeze before Tennessee Titans at the Washington Commanders. Easton, as the Titans look to win back-to-back games for the first time since November 17th of 2022. It's been over 2 calendar years, a shockingly long time since
Is that
Titans
bad?
won back-to-back games. But I think overall, for a 3-8 football team, vibes are pretty high among Titans fans right now. Things continue to be ascending in the right direction. So, Easton, you and I are going to talk about whether we expect that to continue, how much we're buying into those narratives regarding the Titans offense, regarding the Commanders defense. We'll give some X factors for, what we think is the key to the Titans getting that second win in a row. And then we'll give you the bets that have been money all year long. I mean, our bets have been winning people money. If you've been backing what you and I say on these pregame shows, you'd be doing pretty well for yourself right now. So tell the folks what to do before we get into everything this morning.
Guys, we got to like the show this morning. Help us out. Hit that like button on Facebook, on YouTube, that thumbs up right underneath our pretty faces. Hit that for us this morning. It costs you nothing. It's very helpful to us. So help us out. Be a friend of the show this morning. Like the show and lock in as we get ready for Titans Commanders here in about 27 minutes.
27 minutes indeed. Before we get into all of it, going to give a shout out to all of our partners who make it happen for us while helping out all of you. They are X Golf Nashville and now in Murfreesboro as well, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. X Golf, play, train, and entertain at playxgolf.com. BetMGM, log in today to get your Pro Football Boost Pack and acquire tokens for more winnings. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. T-Dot, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee. Visit nobodytrashestennessee.com. Easton, it is sort of an ascension for the Titans, not an Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, but ascension, no less.
There it is.
This group on offense got better, and still didn't pop. Well, it popped last week for Tennessee. They picked up a win against the division rival in Houston on the road. And I think one of the big talking points now is the Titans going against a Commanders team and going through a stretch of games upcoming here that are worse defenses than they've seen. The best part of what they've done on offense recently is they were going against the Vikings, the Texans, some of these top tier defenses, and now we could potentially see even more of it against Washington.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote about it over at A2Zsports.com this week about how I think the Titans offense is poised for a little bit of an explosion here down the stretch. And it's probably going to make things weird for us as we go into the offseason. And, they need to run the table to make the playoffs. So if they continue to win games and do start their first winning streak in a long time, we can have that conversation. Let's not start on that quite yet. But I do think that growth over the rest of this season, the next 6 games, is likely on the offensive side of the ball. And to the point you made, and I wish we had pulled these graphics for today, but alas, go to my Twitter. You can find them. I tweeted them earlier this week about how the Titans have just finished what was probably the toughest single stretch of 3 games for any team in terms of defenses faced this season. They just played in 3 consecutive weeks, 2 games of which on the road, the number 1, number 2, and number 3 defenses in the entire league in terms of success rate allowed. Top 6 defenses in terms of EPA per play. Top 5 defense in terms of EPA per pass. And yet, Will Levis and the offense, and the passing game in particular, improved through those games, and in fact won one of those games in which they were 8.5 point underdogs on the road against the division-leading Houston Texans. So for them to have improved through that incredibly difficult stretch is curious, and I don't quite know how they did it. Besides, I think this offense is truly finding its stride, and it is genuinely going to be good by the end of the year. And they are now embarking on, starting today and through really the next 5 weeks, the next month and change, they're going to be playing what might be one of the easiest, if not the easiest, stretches of opposing defenses that any team gets to face this year. So total whiplash in terms of strength of defense. But coming up, starting today, they get the 22nd, 28th, 27th, 14th, and 28th ranked defenses in the league by success rate. Similar rankings for EPA per play, similar rankings for EPA per pass. Some of these defenses slightly better in terms of rush defense, but the passing game in particular, man, it gets so nice. Today, the 22nd ranked passing defense is who they'll be playing in Washington.
And, and as we talk about the back end of this year, right? we're always going to be talking about Will Levis for the rest of this year because this is still audition season for Will Levis. This is still show improvement. Prove it to me for 2025. Prove it to Brian Callahan. Prove it to the fan base. Prove it to Amy Adams-Strunk. This is your chance here. And so for 3 weeks now, since Will returned and was healthy and back in the lineup, it has been very good. And as Max says here, playoffs started last week. Like, I know it sounds absurd. I hate being that dude, but Brian Callahan in his press conference was not shying away from the fact that, hey, we're not dead yet, was the exact word that he used. We are not dead yet. That seems to be the vibe that the Titans have embraced in the locker room as well. If you can find a way to win today against, like you said, the 22nd rated pass defense and the Washington Commanders, well, then you get Jacksonville at home next week. Then things really start to open up for you if you're the Titans. And even if this is not some long run straight to the playoffs, right? I understand why Ken is laughing at that, right? I understand why that's laughable, and it is laughable. That's not where the focus needs to be today. But it is why I and so many other people, I think, have been getting really excited about Will Levis and about this Titans offense and the stride that they seem to be finding, because there's a real possibility that it's only going to get better. Easton, it brings us to our first question here on our pregame show before we get into action. When we ask all of you, are you buying or selling that the Titans bet the offense will get even better this week against a worse defense? Are you buying or selling the fact that the Titans offense will get even better against a worse defense this week? Now, that's going to take a lot. Let's be honest here. The Titans
32 points last week.
32 points last week. A lot of explosive plays. Calvin Ridley was great. Nick Westbrook-Akine was great. Will Levis threw a pick six and still found a way to have the Titans win this game. Tony Pollard, fumbled and gave away points on a fumble, but was otherwise running all over Houston. Are we buying or selling the fact that it's going to pop even more and get even better? Do we have a total yard number for the Titans offense last week, Easton?
Let me grab that for you real quick for you. I thought we were talking bets today. I was like, I have no idea. Let's see here. Last Sunday, the Titans
total net yards, 369 total net yards for the Titans offense against Houston is what I'm seeing.
Nice.
So is that the barometer then for you of like, what is that what they need to surpass in order for this to be better, improve, is over 369 total net yards?
I mean, that's really reductive, but yeah, kind of. If
what is I guess a non-reductive way of I'm just trying to quantify.
I don't have a good answer, because for me it's like just the vibes. Does it look and feel better? Are they moving the ball easier than they were last week? Because we saw in the second half of that game, they continued to score points, but the offense kind of stalled out against like a very good Houston defense. And so for me, it's like, okay, I remember what the first half of that game felt like. And this offense, every time they had the ball, was putting together substantive drives. They were scoring points. They weren't getting to the red zone and stalling out like they have for a lot of the year.
Yeah.
Does it look like that for two halves today? So, having more yards or having more points, those are tangible ways that I can point to at the end of this game in our post-game show, say, man, they were even better today on offense than they were. But even more than that, to me, it's, do they look like they're in command of this game start to finish?
Well, and less offensive mistakes too can also be a barometer there, because like we mentioned, 32 points, 2 of those are the safety at the end of the game. So really 30 points generated from your offense. Love that. We'll take that all day. But with that 30 points, there's a pick six from Will Levis that was thrown when I believe they were across midfield when Levis threw that.
They were like right at midfield.
Right around midfield. So they had a drive going. Tony Pollard was in plus territory when he fumbled the ball on, a run play that probably was a drive leading to points for the Titans. There were still some offensive mistakes that happened along the way. So maybe it's not over 369 total net yards, but maybe it's 320 yards, but a little bit more consistent effort throughout 4 quarters, less mistakes. If they can have another turnover-free game, that would be tremendous, I think, in terms of the development of this offense. But what is the chat saying?
Captain of the Peanut Gallery, Austin Stanley. Whenever he is not on the show, he's just here to pester us, giving me a hard time. Headline, analytics guy can't find number to quantify Titans' offensive improvement, goes off vibes. That's because you, my friend, you've misidentified me as analytics guy. I'm not analytics guy.
I'm analytics guy.
No, I'm Dr. Nuance. I'm Dr. Nuance as determined by you and Austin.
You are Dr. Nuance as determined by what the analytics tell you?
No, I sit right in the middle of
The
analytics and
reason your
narrative,
doctor, yeah, I
and
mean,
I only claim the best from both sides.
right, exactly. No,
I
you're
cherry
the
pick.
worst.
Yeah.
You are the worst kind of analytics guy. You are the guy who says, "Well, no, it's not bad. The analytics say it's actually good." But then when the analytics say that it's really good,
No.
you're like, "Well, vibes."
I'm actually the wisest amongst us because I don't live and die by one or the other. I use both to inform my opinion. Sorry. That's the way. So listen, like to Austin's point, there are ways that we can statistically at the end of this game and say, wow, look, on paper, they were better. But I think we're also going to be more interested in, did it feel better? Because that's what sports fans care about. And so in all seriousness, that's why I'm not like PFF Moo on Twitter who just lives and dies by the numbers. Ooh, I don't need to watch the games. I can just crunch the data. No, like watch the games. What you feel matters just as much as what the numbers tell you.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree. I just don't know if I buy it coming out of your mouth. So I think
you're just not familiar with my game then. Clearly,
I gotta think about it a little bit more. Well, we
Okay.
know I'm a vibes guy. I don't care.
You're a narrative guy. That's right.
I don't care what the numbers say. I'm a vibes guy through and through. And
That's
the vibes have been pretty good. So
They have.
what is the vibe in the chat this morning, Easton? Are they buying or selling the fact that this Titans offense is going to improve even more?
Oh, let's see what the chat thinks. Guy says he's selling. I think that they will play down to their competition. So he is sticking by the relatively old Titans adage of play up to the better teams and play down to the worst teams. That was a Mike Vrabel special. We'll see if, as the Titans become an average team, we've not really had a chance to see if Callahan plays that way because they've been having to play up to everybody because they've been bad. So we'll see once that they're evenly matched how that works. Michael says selling as well. Wow, people in the chat sell from Will. Chase is buying it, as is Darius and Karen. Let's see, buying from Tommy. Ken saying mess. So listen, folks in the chat are some very optimistic and buying, as is Lane. But there's plenty of I think healthy skepticism still from the folks. And even though we've seen it 3 times now, I do think it's fair as we look at this upcoming stretch of 5 weeks where you do not have an excuse as an offense against these defenses. You do not. It's time for them to put up against those teams. And it's one thing to overachieve when you're going into a game like last week where you're on the road against a division leader. You are 8.5-point underdogs and you exceed our expectations. That's awesome. But once you have raised the bar for us to have reasonable expectations for you as an offense, hey, no more scoring 17 points. No more getting stomped out in the second half of games. It's time to be a big boy now at the NFL table. Let's see what they do when those are the expectations. I think that's absolutely fair.
Yeah. Listen, I'll go ahead and get it in here. I'm going to buy this all the way.
As am I. Clearly, I think we both are.
No, I mean, I've been unapologetically on board with Will Levis through the ups and the downs.
Right.
You know, I made the statement last week and I'm all the way committed to it now that I'm going to go down with the ship if Levis does not end up working out with the Titans. So I'm pot committed here.
So like you resign from sports media forever if Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback?
No, I'm just going to cry.
Oh, okay.
Be very upset. Yeah, I'm just going to get embarrassed. This is basically what I'm called when I'm hypothetically going down with a proverbial ship that doesn't exist, because then I'll be like, hey, Shedeur Sanders.
A lot of ethereal things going on.
How we doing?
That's right.
I've been very in on what Levis can do. Was a little worried about what the Titans could build on offense around him, and I think we've started to see it boil, and now it's clicking. And so I'm in. I'm expecting it to be better. If the Titans come out and lay an egg here and it's a real stinker against the Commanders and it sort of reverts back to what was happening early in the season, I would be very disappointed, very upset, but genuinely surprised more than anything else. So I'm going to buy. I think that this is going to be another big offensive effort for the Titans. I think similarly to what we saw for the Titans against the Texans, this might be a bit of a letdown for the Titans defense. I think this is going to be a high scoring football game yet again. I think that this is going to be a little bit more of a shootout. Do you have the over under handy?
When I was looking at it earlier, it was in the 45 range. I'll get the exact number here, but this is a Washington team that for the better part of the first half of the season, they were the offensive juggernaut. When you looked at the EPA offensive defensive charts put out by PFF each week on Twitter, it was like all the teams and then Washington over here. Like they were in a realm of their own. And now we've got, another Cliff narrative. Talking about narratives. The Cliff is brewing. Cliff Kingsbury and his offenses ever since his college coaching days back at Texas Tech.
I felt Jaden Daniels was slightly fraudulent as well. Not that he's not going to end up being a very good quarterback, but that start to the year that he had, I think was very circumstantial.
When I think he's a little bit beat up. I think he's they are not letting on to how hurt he is.
Adjusted a little bit as well. Fair.
The over-under is 45.5 in this game. So last week you took the over, and it was something like 40 flat. Smash.
Yeah, it was 40.5. I smashed it. It went over by a mile. 45 is a little bit of a tougher sell to me. So I don't know. I probably don't touch that one.
Are you getting 23 points out of both teams today?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out when we make our score predictions. But I'm buying this, Easton, and you're in the same boat. Yes,
I am buying as well. Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to our X Golf X Factors. Let's figure out exactly what has to happen for the Titans to go ahead and get that win. Let us know in the chat who or what will be the X Golf X Factor for a Titans win today over the Commanders. Who or what will be an X Golf X Factor for the Titans to get a win over the Commanders? While I tell you all about who's bringing it, who's making it happen, who's an X Golf in your life, and it is X Golf Nashville. I don't know if I botched that or not.
An X Factor in your life.
X Factor in your life.
We knew what you meant. That's
Easton, right. I have X Golf on the brain 24/7 because they are the home of indoor golf, and they've reinvented the player experience by creating the most accurate indoor golf simulators on the market today, giving every person the power to take on the world's top courses, compete in a wide variety of game formats, improve their swing with lessons and superior analytics, all while being totally entertained. You can go to the bar, get a drink, get some good food, watch Monday Night Football or Sunday football or college basketball or college football. Now that we're in the swing of things, there's sports entertainment on most nights of the week, and that's why every night is a good night to go to X Golf, the home of indoor golf, work on your golf game, watch some sports, get some good food, get some good drinks in. X Golf Nashville, now in Murfreesboro as well. Visit let's see where we go for that one. We go to playxgolf.com to find out more. Easton, I'll throw it to you here. What is the X factor for the Titans today? What is the number one thing you think they need to do to get this win?
Yeah, and usually we talk about this pre-show. We just forgot today. So hopefully you and I just have different X factors. I have one. Mine's for the Titans defense. What is yours?
Mine is two.
Okay, well, you might be about to have to pivot because I'm going first. My X factor for the Titans. I'll give you time to vamp if you have to pivot. X factor is the Titans showing that they know a quarterback is good at running the ball, and they know how to stop the quarterback who is good at running the ball. We have seen them fail to do so in every instance this season where they have faced a Malik Willis, or they have faced a Drake May, or they have, even a Justin Herbert. These guys that have the ability to burn you with their legs. Every single time the Titans have seemingly not known that is a risk. And then you let Drake May run for 95 yards, and you let Justin Herbert go for 40 and a touchdown, and you let Malik Willis just embarrass you in week 3 at home. In case they aren't aware, Jaden Daniels, that's kind of his thing, right? Pretty good runner of the football.
Do you think they know that? Do you think the Titans have picked up on that?
I sure hope so, but frankly, they've not demonstrated their ability to know that this is a problem, and maybe they know.
But it's a little bit more obvious than some of these other guys.
It should be. Well, but there's knowing, and then there's being able to do something about it, and that's step 2. And the Titans, for all of their strength as a traditional run defense, especially up the middle, teams are not running the ball effectively on handoffs. They are running the ball very effectively on quarterback sneaks, designed runs, boots, and just scrambles. So shut down Jaden Daniels today, make him a one-dimensional player, force him to play from the pocket where he can play and he has weapons, but don't allow him to burn you the way that you've allowed other running quarterbacks to burn you. That's my X factor for the Titans defense.
All right, I'm also on the Titans defense. I'm on the defensive side of the ball. Before I tell you exactly what it is, will you go ahead and just pop through some of the chat's X factors today?
I will. Rooney thinks it's turnovers, as is the case in all games. Completely agree. Yama says another big game from Levis. Need a Tony Pollard game, according to Orlando and Brandon and Nicholas. Turnover battle, according to Adam. Need a big Ridley game from Tin Man. Offensive line and special teams. Can never go wrong there. Reginald, Dewey, Sam. Over on the daily game, the weekly game. Over under longest return allowed by the Titans special teams. I'm going to set the line at 32.5 yards.
Over.
Okay. All right.
I mean, come on, 32.5.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they'll maybe marginally improve.
a marginal improvement is them allowing a kick return that gets to midfield and they make the tackle. Like that would be,
you know what?
Colt
Fair
Anderson
enough.
would be licking his lips.
Vegas shouldn't let me set the line on that. Maybe it needs to be a little bit more aggressive. Jake says Jarvis Bentley Jr. needs a big game from him. He'll have a big assignment this week with Scary Terry out there on the perimeter. Brandon says it's the same as last week. So if you remember Brandon's from last week, it's that same one. Hammer says special teams can't be doo-doo. Explosive plays from End the Fed. Oh, from Ridley, according to End the Fed. So some usual suspects here, but absolutely I think that explosive plays, turnovers, offensive line, special teams, that's your holy, not trinity. So I don't know, triumvirate of things that you need to go well for the Titans this week.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going with the Titans defense, like you said, but I'm focusing on the run game and I'm focusing on the running backs. Yeah, I know Jaden Daniels is kind of the lead force here when it comes to the Commanders' run game. A quote from Brian Callahan when asked what teams have done to put the Commanders in check and really hit that Cliff Kingsbury cliff that you talked about. I think teams have done a good job of keeping their run game in check. Their run game has been good, especially when it's driven by Jaden and all the things he can do with the ball in his hands. People have settled some of their stuff down in that regard. But your ability to bottle up not just Jaden Daniels, but also the Commanders' running backs will be huge. Austin Eckler is out today, which means it's Brian Robinson Jr., followed by Titans legend Jeremy McNichols.
Titans legend.
Jeremy
McNichols.
Trying to get after the Titans today. But let me read you some stats here, Easton. The Titans have held their opponents to 20 points or less on 3 different occasions this season. All of them were a result of good run stop of the primary running back of the opponent. In week 4 against the Dolphins, Devon Achane, 15 yards on 10 carries, 1.5 yards per attempt. Against the Colts in week 6, Trey Sermon, 29 rushing yards on 18 carries, 1.6 yards per attempt. When the Titans beat the Patriots and held them to 17 points, Ramondre Stevenson, 16 rushing yards on 10 carries, 1.6 yards per attempt. And even though they gave up a lot of points last week against the Texans, they got a win, limiting the damage Joe Mixon was able to do on the ground. He finished the day with 22 rushing yards on 14 carries, 1.6 yards per attempt. 1.6, 1.6, 1.5, 1.6. Do we notice a pattern? If the Titans defense is going to hold the Commanders in check, keep them close enough that this Titans offense can hit splash plays and win the game, it starts with bottling up the run and starting with Brian Robinson Jr., who's going to be the primary back for Washington today.
Yeah, I like it. I think that that's a very doable thing for this Titans defense. And I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I know last week, Joe Mixon, something like 20 total yards on the day. Very, very inefficient running day.
He had a couple big, screen passes, I think that, he made a couple dudes miss on made like one drive in the second half, but the run game did not exist and made CJ Stroud have to do a lot, and he made a lot of mistakes. I think you can do the same thing with Jaden Daniels.
Yep, that's the recipe. I think we can go ahead and get to our game predictions here. Sam, you ready?
Yep, let's do it. BetMGM, that's where you should go for all of your pregame predictions. Use the code ATOZ Sports when you sign up. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses with BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas and the official partner of the Tennessee Titans. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789 and drop your score predictions in the chat. The Titans are plus 5.5 in this game, 5.5 point underdogs on BetMGM. So let us know who's going to win, the Titans or the Commanders as 5.5 point favorites. Easton, what is the chat saying?
Scrappy says Titans win 35-0. Just an all-time beatdown.
Let's go.
Ethan says 27-20 Titans, 31-20 Titans, according to Lane. 25-24, a weird one from Orlando. Thinks the Titans pull it out. Hammer likes the Titans 27-20. Eric likes the Titans 17-7, a low-scoring bout. Jake likes the Titans 41-38, a high-scoring bout. Ryan says the Titans eat a W, 23-14. Here we go. Finally, a Washington prediction. Okay, it's far too optimistic in the chat. Guy says 24-21. Washington wins a close one. 28-17 Titans, 27-21 Titans. Man, I've only seen one Washington Commanders pick. Here we go. Amanda says 25-24 Washington. What a strange number to end on. But man, the folks in the chat, they think the Titans are winning this game, Sam.
Yeah. Do you think the Titans are winning this game?
I do. I think that they win 27-23. I think that Washington has a chance at the end of the game, down more than a field goal, has to march down, try to get a touchdown. Titans defense comes up big in the biggest moment. Give me Titans 27-23.
I feel pretty good about the Titans as well. I would pick the Titans to win this game, but I'm not going to be that guy. I've been picking against the Titans for a while.
Sure.
And things are starting to move in the right direction. I'm not going to ruin the vibes by being all jumping on board. 28-27 Commanders. They win. Titans miss a game-winning field goal. It's blocked. Nick Folk gets a 45-yard field goal blocked, and they lose the game. And the
poor Colt Anderson.
Escape. And everybody's looking at Colt Anderson afterwards. So, yeah, 28-27, 45-yard field goal blocked. They're going right to left on the final drive when it happens.
I don't want to deal with that at all. Are you the guy that, like, when your team's doing great, you, like, refuse to get out of the position you're sitting in because it would ruin the vibes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. I mean, so sorry to put the bad vibes out there, but we'll see that I had a premonition. Let's see if I can go Austin Stanley mode and envision the future. Real quick, Easton, you and I have been smoking on these Titans bets over the last few weeks. We've been calling out picks. We've been hitting a lot of them. We've got a couple minutes before kickoff here. Let's go. I've got Tony Pollard over 14.5 receiving yards. I think that number is way too low. Everybody's seen a lot of Titans explosive passing plays, which are a big part of this offense, but I think we see a little bit of a zag from Brian Callahan when people are assuming he's going to zig. The screen game going to be back in effect for the Titans this week. I like Pollard over 14.5 receiving yards. I have Will Levis over 17.5 completions. I think these Will Levis numbers are shockingly low. He's at 203.5 passing yards, 17.5 completions. I think the over on both of those. And then I'm actually parlaying the Will Levis over of 203.5 with Calvin Ridley over 61.5 yards. You mentioned the 22nd ranked passing defense that is Washington. If Will Levis is going to have success, it means a couple of explosives to Calvin. So those are my picks. Tony Pollard over receiving, Calvin Ridley over receiving, Will Levis over in passing yards and completions.
Yeah, I do think Washington's going to put up a fight in this one. So as bad as their run defense is, and it is not good, I don't think the Titans are going to be able to lean on the run all day long. So I've got some passing props as well. I've parlayed these in a couple different ways. I'm going to hand them out as straight bets. You parlay them how you would see fit. Of course, first of all, Sam, we've already talked about how I've got all my bills on auto pay. That includes the NWI anytime touchdown. We got that one set up. The credit card's in there. Auto pay any NWI anytime touchdown. I've also got NWI over 35.5 receiving yards. We know he's liable to do that in one go based on the recent success that he's had. I'm with you on Levis over 203.5 passing yards. I'm also on, once again, 2 weeks in a row, Levis over 34.5 longest completion. He's hit that in 4 of his last 5. I've got Brian Robinson Jr. under 57.5 rushing yards. I like how the Titans have bottled up running back ones lately. I think they'll do it again today. And then a couple Ridley props. Ridley over 23.5 longest reception. We've seen him do that in 4 of the last 5.
That feels like a given for Ridley with an explosive.
Exactly. And then Ridley over 64.5 receiving yards. Those are my bets. You can see them all in written form on my Twitter account if you want to place them in the next 90 seconds.
All right. Well, 90 seconds indeed. Kickoff is getting ready here. Easton, you and I will be back at halftime to react to the first half of Titans Commanders, hoping that the good vibes carry over through the next 30 minutes of football. Till then, tighten up. We will see you at halftime. Come right here, A to Z Sports.